What's up, everybody? It's another episode of World 1-1 Podcast. I am your host, Larry the Bearded Wonder. Joining me, as always, is Eddie Snugglebear V.
Hello, everybody.
And our newest castmate, Josh The LaGrew.
Hello.
So this week we're steering away from news for the back half of the show. We're going to go deep dive on part 1 of 2 of something I've been itching to do for months, and we're finally going to start that. But to kick it off, let's start with
oh my gosh!
Video games. Eddie, what have you been playing?
Okay, so I didn't play anything on Switch due to the fact that I've been playing Forza Horizon 4. I have a review of that on ngrradio.com if anybody want to check that out. You can hear what my thoughts about that game is. Enjoying it. It pretty much knocked God of War off my Game of the Year list.
Ouch!
Like, it is pretty much is better. It takes the Burnout franchise and just blow it out the water. Like, the game is, besides Burnout Takedown, it'll never fade that. It might meet it up. But this game looks beautiful across all 3 platforms. Whether you're playing on Windows 10, Xbox One, or Slim, or it looks way beautiful on Xbox One X. So if you got 4K UHD, it's a beauty, and it feels so good when you're driving on the streets after customizing and stuff. Like, I just love the way that it looks, and everything pops. There's not too many technical problems with it, like frame rate drops or pop down. I think only problem that I had with it was some lag and some cars just reappearing but that's all online stuff. When you just playing the game by yourself and you're on the go, it is a blast to play. And I was just like, yeah, this outdoes God of War in the graphics department. It puts the game to shame. Don't get me wrong, God of War looks great, but for me personally, it knocked it out the water. And if Microsoft continue on this great roll, like when we see Crackdown 3, when we see some of their Halo 6 or Halo Infinite, and probably some other games down the line for next year, I think Microsoft have a chance to win 2019 for Game of the Year. I think they're going to be on a very big roll, regardless of Scarlet and stuff. But I really am enjoying my time with that. The seasons looks beautiful, dude. I think the best season for me right now is kind of fall. I like the way, and fall and summer, but I like the way just driving with the leaves all around the scene, just seeing different areas and the light reflection on the lake and driving through the water. Man, it's so good. And I'm just like, okay, Microsoft Playground games that turned 10, they knocked it out the park. So you guys can read that review. Also started up Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, playing that for my backlog. It's a Call of Duty game. I kind of wish they would give you more direction on what to do, because sometimes they just put you in.
How much direction do you need? Shoot bad guys, don't die.
But the thing about it is just like they're trying to go for a very cinematic feel, and sometimes when you're trying to aim, because you're like in a car chase or something, it throws your aim off, and it don't really give you time to react. So you get to that section, and within 5 seconds you could die when you're trying to attack, because the controls are throwing you off. And it still has that problem that if you die in that long part of the section, you have to redo it over. So it's like, I understand what they're trying to go for, but I'm just like, they should have been able to give you enough time to like really react and shoot people, and sometimes they just don't do that. But it's okay. It's not a bad game. I am kind of enjoying it. But you know, I think I'll probably be done with it probably by the time you guys hear this episode. Next episode I'll be done with it. I'll probably be done with it by like Friday at the time of this recording. So Shouldn't be too hard to get through. I'll probably play it on easy again, just like to get the collectibles and stuff. Other than that, I started up Grand Theft Auto 5 for PlayStation 4, so I could get ready for Red Dead Redemption 2. And then hopefully, probably in the first week of November, I'll be picking up Starlink. Be picking up not Assassin's Creed, Soul Calibur 6. Picking that up, and then I gotta get into buying my Switch games. There's a lot of indie games and physical copy games I need to go to the store and pick up, or even order off of Amazon. Like the Xenoblade Chronicles DLC, I need to get that. I heard things about Where the World Ends With You, but I still want to pick it up because I want to show that, you know, supports the Square Enix. I heard things about it.
I need a copy of that.
Huh?
I'm in the same boat. I'm going to need a copy of that myself.
Yeah. I still need to start Mario Party up. And my goal is to finish Breath of the Wild too. I need to finish that. But
I do too.
Yeah, I've just been playing. I'm in the season of actually getting games and playing them for review because I'm trying to write more reviews and stuff. And there's just so much Nintendo stuff that I literally need to get, literally like from the summer. From like Hollow Knight, but that's physical, all the way until probably Smash, like Diablo 3. I gotta get ready for, still gotta like get Hollow Knight, still gotta get the Pokemon games, and just some indie stuff that came on Switch. Like I just need to get the Iconoclast on Switch. And I'm thinking, I wonder if I should wait for Guacamelee 2 to drop on Switch and see if they're going to do a double pack. Cause I want to do 1 and 2 on Switch. I beat the original version, but I never did the Super Turbo Championship because originally had it on PS3. But I'm just like, if they do a double pack, and I would love for them to do a physical, but if they do a double pack for like $40 or $45 on Switch, or even $25, I'm down for that. I would rather wait for both games to be available on the eShop and buy them both. And I still need to buy a Akami too. And I need to look into some importing because I need that physical badly for Switch. Like, no joke.
Yeah, I imported my copy of Okami for Switch.
Yeah, it's weird. I actually want it for Switch and I want it for Xbox One, because that cover for it looks good with the light green on Xbox. It looks really
There's
good.
Special editions for the Switch for that though that are super fucking salty though. Holy crap!
I just need the game. That's all. But that's pretty much what I've been playing. I'll probably have a longer list for next episode because there's a lot to dive into.
Josh, what have you been playing the last week or so?
You know, not too much. I've been dabbling with Hollow Knight a little bit more. I just need to find some time to really get back into that. I love the game, so I'm just trying to find more time to dive into it. Let's see, I was inspired last week when Eddie said he was playing Quantum Break, so I went back to start playing some Quantum Break again. I really like it. I'm starting a hard playthrough. So I should really play it on like normal for a while just to get the hang of it again, because to get the powers and chain of powers and everything. It's really good, but and I really haven't been doing much more than that. I've been having this debate with myself if I should buy Dead Cells or not. I haven't played it yet.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
But like on Friday, I'm going to get Dark Souls for the Switch. So I'm kind of like maybe want to take a little break for like a day or two of games, you know?
Yeah, I'll get that in November. I'm going to be late picking Dark Souls up. But yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
Dark Souls is one that I'll pick up when I see it used.
Yeah, I might wait to do that too, just so I can get some of the backlog out of here, you know.
Well, it's going to be good having Dark Souls, Darksiders 3, and Diablo. Like the triple Ds are hitting all in November. Well,
I'm gonna need Dark Souls 1 and 2 though on my Switch as well. I need the full set.
Right,
So,
Bandai Namco.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, I have not been playing much. I've been kind of dabbling here and there with a few things. Played a little more Dragalia Lost, but I have not played much more. Only about an hour or so of that this week. I've just been not really finding myself in the mood to play it. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I haven't gotten to play squat in the last couple weeks because reasons, but I do have something to stand in for Oh My God Video Games for myself this week. This week we're going to play...
what's in the box? What's in the fucking box? Open it! 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 Open it!
Because Josh sent me a box of I have no idea what all is in here, and so I've been holding on to this until I had a chance to actually open it on the show just for shits and giggles to see what fun nonsense is in the box. I've been told to lower my expectations.
yes.
So, but no, this is still sealed. So we're gonna pull out the teeny tiny, trusty, handy dandy pocket knife. Yeah, that little feller right there.
Yeah,
We're
for
gonna
you
open the
for
box.
people listening, it's about a 12-inch blade. So,
Give or take, yeah. It's not overkill in the least, but it's fun for effect. All right, down boy. So let's see what we got in here. All right, so there's we have an envelope here. Let's open their envelope. There we go. We have a disc-only copy of Pikmin 3. It's actually in really nice shape. Let's see what else is in here. Oh, my wife's gonna love this because she fucking hates Animal Crossing. Tom Nook is her most hated thing ever. I have multiple Tom Nook amiibos that I just randomly hide around the house to piss her off. But
there you go.
We have a Blathers amiibo in the box and a Lottie amiibo in the box.
Nice.
These will torment my wife for months to come. What else is tucked in here? There's something wrapped in... Oh, that looks pretty. That looks fancy. Oh, that's gorgeous. We've got a big, like, brown, hard, kind of like embossed Zelda Switch case. That's actually really sharp. It's got a couple of little plastic four cartridge holders in there. So it'll hold like 8 carts. You've got a pouch. Looks like it's for just the extra accessories and goodies and stuff. It's notched to fit like the shoulder buttons of the Switch on there. That's a really sharp case, actually. It's definitely fancier than the one that I have, or the pair that I have, but that's like that definitely feels like it could actually take a solid beating too.
Yeah, I know. It's actually a nice case.
It really is. I say this one wasn't part of any of the Zelda Special Edition packs, was it?
No, I think it's actually a licensed Nintendo product, though.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
It's a standalone, though. Then it just wasn't part of like the okay.
If I remember, I think I got it at, like, I can't remember where I got it, but it was like just a standalone. I liked it. I liked the outside. I couldn't open it up. Just doesn't fit all my crap in there.
Right, and I'm kind of the same way. I've got like 2 Switch cases that are identical, just because of how many hard physical games I have. Like I've got one that's nothing but indie and one that's nothing but AAA. So when I'm in the mood to play determines which case goes with me for the day. So, but that's what's in the box, and that's our Oh My God Video Games for this week. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the break button for just a minute here, and then we're gonna jump into our part 1 of 2 deep dive that I've been itching to get to. So with that said, break and And we're back. So this week, we're like I said, we're heading into a deep dive. We're going to be talking objectively terrible games that we still love for some godforsaken reason. So with that said, let's take a dive. I want to start with the new feller. Josh, talk to me. What's a just universally panned game that you love for some reason, and what is it that draws you into that game, even though you know and everybody else knows that it's awful, but you still love it?
I'm gonna have to say Duke Nukem Forever.
Okay.
And the reason is, first of all, everybody knows it was like lost in limbo and development hell for so many years, and it just, when it came out, it was basically a throwback game. And it was, it was terrible. It wasn't politically correct. It was everything wrong with the time that it came out in, but it was great for the time it was supposed to come out in. I just love like those old Duke Nukem games. And that just reminds me of playing on my PC when I was a kid. And I bought that Duke Nukem Forever when it came out, and I didn't think it was going to be great, but I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was. Mm-hmm. But I still loved it. And for me, that's why I just love it.
So it's like a historical, cultural touch point, just frozen in amber.
Yeah. It plays on my nostalgia, Like when I was a kid and I would play that was actually when I was a teenager when those games came out, but it just reminds me so much of that time when I had, you had to turn down the detail in your PC to get it to work so you could actually play at a fast enough pace. Maybe about the size of a postage stamp on my computer screen if I didn't have a good enough graphics card to play. But when it came out for Xbox 360, that's when I got it. I really did love it, and I knew people were not going to like it, but it was great. I love it. I still play it every now and then. I put it in and play it for like an hour or two, and I'm like, I don't know if I should continue to do this or not, but I do.
I was just going to ask if it managed to keep you coming back time and again.
Every now and then. Yeah.
Okay. There's enough of a draw to get it back into the disc tray once in a while. So, and Eddie, what about you? I know you're not going to hit on this because we've discussed it, and I still love giving you shit about it. But I was really hoping to hear you talk about The Order again.
No. No. And no. Okay, so for me, it's kind of a forgotten gem that people don't really didn't care for it. But Fighting Force, it was a fighting beat 'em up 3D game from Eidos on PlayStation 1. And the reason why I love it that other people might pan it for was the fact that it was like probably one of my first PlayStation games that I bought for my birthday. With my own birthday money. And I am still a big fan of beat 'em ups, and I played that I played that game so much. I just love it. And I don't know if other people liked it. I know it didn't get high ratings and stuff. And it's kind of bland, a little bit like the Die Hard game that Sega did, that beat 'em up game. It's kind of like in that vein where it's kind of forgettable after you play it, but like the broken mechanics, the characters were just awkward. The 3D fighting didn't look good. 3D models look way terrible. It's like they tried to make the game look like Tomb Raider and failed on every level. But I enjoyed it. I loved that game. Kind of an honorable mention for me is Mega Man 8. I know a lot of people do not like that game. They said the voices are annoying, but I think that game is fun to play. It's pretty to look at. It's an old school Mega Man game for me, and I like it. So yeah, those are kind of some of the awful games, but I have more, but I don't think they're awful. I just think that people don't care for them.
Let me ask you this. How does Fighting Force stack up against other beat 'em ups?
it doesn't stack up well. And I think I think that's because a lot of beat 'em ups turned into the stylized action games. And so, since Final Force is not that combo heavy like it is for the other games, it's kind of just like this is a throwback, but it's kind of forgettable because it's like only about 5 or 6 stages. Pretty much like once you beat it, you've seen everything, and like there's no extra endings or no really extra challenge, regardless of what difficulty you put it on. So it holds up okay, but compared to like the stylish action game I started on PlayStation 2 and going forward, it doesn't hold up well. So like even the bouncer makes it is better than Final Force.
Okay. So I'm gonna say, like, there's some old school beat 'em ups that I still love going back to, or even a couple of newer ones in that genre that I really like. But I mean, I'm talking like old school side scroll beat 'em up. You know, I'll still pop on like the original Golden Axe every now and then.
Yes.
You know, my favorite Ninja Turtles game was Manhattan Project on the original NES. That was, you know, classic side scroll beat 'em up. You know, and then of course there is the cultural phenomenon that was Castle Crashers. Not to mention that it's just the pure pixelated joy that was Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
You had games like Renegade, Vigilante, by Irem, the one from Bad Dudes from Data East. Like you had a lot. Back in the 80s and 90s for console and arcade, you kind of had some good good beat 'em up ones.
Yeah. I mean, there are good beat 'em ups. I mean, a lot of games in that genre just don't hold up well, period.
Right.
And the genre almost as a whole doesn't really hold up well, with just a few exceptions. So I was kind of curious to see, just in a microcosm, how did it stack against the rest of the genre?
It doesn't hold up well because, like, Streets of Rage 2 is always going to be number one. And that's always going to beat like a lot of beat 'em up games, 2D or 3D arena. Not so much stylish games, because something about Streets of Rage 2 with the music, the level design, and the gameplay is just like a perfect 10. Like that's a game that can't be changed. Where is something about Streets of Rage 4, but it's just like it's Streets of Rage 2 is the Super Metroid of beat 'em up games. That is perfect, and yes, I know I argue about in Super Metroid needed a remake. I still think that. But Streets of Rage 2 is so perfect that nothing about it needs to be changed. If they want to do a remake, just update the graphics, maybe. But and probably, you know, keep that soundtrack, but make it a little bit cleaner. Or if you want to remix it, find someone who could really remix that soundtrack very well. But yeah, I mean, not to go on a tangent, but yeah.
My concern is if they remade that, even in touching up the graphics. I mean, we've seen sometimes what happens when you do that. It just doesn't land well. You know, I mean, it messes with the visual style. It screws with understanding hitboxes, and sometimes that just does not come together right.
I think one game, if anybody, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Larry. If you want to see a game that's old and that really needed to be refreshed, I still think it's A Boy in This Block. I think if you look at the one that came out on PC and I think NES, and just look how basic it kind of is, it doesn't look that good. And then you see the one that Way Forward did, and you just like, this is jaw-dropping gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Boy in This Blob was so good. It had a hug button, for God's sake.
Yes.
Yep.
Automatic Game of the Year nominee right there, just because it has a hug button. One single button that does nothing but make you give hugs.
Wait for it. Release it on Switch. I need a re-release for this. Are you gonna bring Child of Light? Ubisoft. Bring Boy in This Blob. Wait for it. Come on. Oh, but go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, so I refuse to call it a guilty pleasure because it's not a guilty pleasure. I have no guilt about it whatsoever. But one game that that just on a technical level doesn't hold up well, and didn't from the get-go, unfortunately, but I still absolutely love and adore is Advent Rising from the original Xbox. Yep. I'll own it. I don't give a shit.
Oh, no, we talked about it in past episodes.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, Advent was a game that had very high aspirations from a company that, at least at the time, was doing some mid-tier stuff, never quite hit AAA anything, but after Advent, actually, they really kind of backed out of almost everything and went down to almost basically just a mobile studio from Majesco. And honestly, if that game had gotten like maybe an extra 6 months of polish and fine-tune, it probably would have come out okay. It would have survived, but it just...
Because it was really hyped up.
It was.
Yeah, everybody was really looking forward to it when it was coming out.
I mean, it had great pedigree behind it.
Right.
You had script written by Orson Scott Card, who's best known for his for the Ender's Game series. He also had a hand in some of the writing for Shadow Complex as well. Which there's a companion novel that goes with that that's really good. But in any case, Advent was supposed to be the first of 3 games in a full set that actually kind of laid the groundwork for what Mass Effect ended up doing, where some of the choices and decisions that you made in Advent would carry over to the next game, which is something that hadn't really been done prior to that, with maybe the exception of the Dot Hack series on PS2.
Yeah.
Then it really
consoles,
wasn't a matter of choice so much as it just was progress with the Dot Hacks. But, you know, it kills me because Advent ended on a cliffhanger, and we'll never get a resolution to that, and that just feels criminal. Because the story was actually really good. Aside from technical issues, like it has some bad frame rate issues. And it's got more than its fair share of technical problems. But even still, I just have way too much stupid fun playing it. Like, the combat was really enjoyable. The powers that you get as you go along are really, really fun to use, especially when you start combining them and dual-wielding different powers. And then you start finding out that those powers also have like alternate versions that do really cool shit. Like the shield, you know, at one point you've got a power where you can basically put up a riot shield, and then you find out as you power it up enough that, and that's the other thing too, their leveling system was great. It wasn't anything XP based. It was just dependent on how much you used a weapon or a power or did something, that the more you did it, the more proficient you became by default. And that was just laid underneath. You never saw a status bar for it. It was fantastic. And, you know, but that shield, once you got it to a certain point, you could use its alternate form, where instead of, you know, a single surface riot shield, you got to basically bend it all the way around you, and you had a protective sphere around you that you could walk around in instead for a limited period of time. But it's, so good. And the music, just spot on. So props to Tommy for the music on that one. But that's a big one for me. I know it doesn't hold up, but I still love to play it once in a while. Even with the slowdown, somehow it feels right.
I think personally, like for me, like a modern game for me, it's like that Medal of Honor reboot and Halo 5. Like, those are excellent games. Halo 5 looks beautiful and plays very well. Story is whatever, but like when when you're in battle and you're just playing that game, it just feels good to play. And it's just so much fun. And Medal of Honor, that reboot, 2 is garbage beyond reality. But that Medal of Honor, that Medal of Honor, I love the characters, I love the story, and every battle I was into, I would die at times and be like, I'm ready to do this again, and it was just so much fun. And that's 2 of my like kind of modern guilty pleasures, I would say.
I can respect that.
Yeah, I mean they both I think sold okay. But it's just like, it got panned for so many reasons, but I'm just like, these are still top quality games.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, and what I really wanted to hit on here was just the ones that were, like, objectively and technically bad, but we still love. And I think we've hit on that really well, and it's, like I said, I was curious to kind of see what some of those were for you guys, because I know that Advent's probably the top of my list for that, but there's a few others floating around if I gave it some real thought. Games that I know were not good, but God, I really loved.
Okay, so Larry's gonna be mad at me about this one, but whatever. I think Metroid Samus, the Return of Samus for the original Game Boy is terrible, but Samus Returns, the remake, is a breath of fresh air, and I love that game. Yep. That's my guilty pleasure. I don't care what you think, Larry. I think that Game Boy game is garbage, but that remake makes up for it, and you are welcome.
You know what? I'm not going to argue with it, and here's why. Because on a technical level, it doesn't hold up well. But for me personally, I know exactly what they were getting at, and to me, the way it speaks to me is that the limitations that system placed on that game, worked to better deliver and execute that vision of claustrophobia, dark, and just unseeable, cavernous feel. And that's why that kind of floats in that weird realm of exception for me. But for most people, I absolutely get it. That game on a pure technical standpoint is rough. But by the same token, it's that same rough around the edge that somehow delivers on the intentional vision for it.
I think the game would have worked well on NES if they did it. I think that type of game needed the NES to accomplish what it was trying to do. I know on Game Boy it feels very atmospheric and a little bit claustrophobic. I love that it did that, but it's just like, it's one of those, Metroid Zero Mission kind of outdid the original game. Samus Returns kind of outdid.
Wait.
Huh?
Oh, I was going to say Zero Mission in every way outdid the original NES.
Yes. It's just like, those 2 remakes outdid the original, but those 2 original versions are still well respected and loved by many. I just think that for the Return of Samus, just like, this would have been better on NES, and this remake is just drop dead gorgeous fun. It's hard as ever, but I love that, and I kind of want more of this.
I can see that. I mean, and the nice thing too is that, as far as Metroid 2 goes, if one of those remakes didn't scratch your itch, the other would.
Yes.
I mean, for me, I think AM2R hit the original vision better, but Samus Returns hit the road that they want to go down in the future better. So, we've talked about it at great length, but one was past perfected, one is vision of the future.
Yeah.
It's really kind of a fork in the road right there. But either way, I mean, no matter what you want out of it, you've got 3 games to pick from to tell you the same story, essentially. And all of them do it very well in their own respect.
Yes.
So, but that's all I got. Next week we're gonna deep dive on the inverse. Great games that we just can't deal with.
Oh, I have a list.
Yeah, I got a lot too.
I have a list.
The order doesn't count.
Well, can I just say one more game for me, The Last Guardian.
Yeah.
I think that's it didn't get the praise that it deserved, and I think that's the best PlayStation 4 game of all time for its generation. I think it outdoes everything that Sony has put out, even Spider-Man. And I have to play Spider-Man, but for like first party, I think The Last Guardian is like the best work coming out from Sony.
Interesting. Okay. I can kind of see it too, because if you go back to their first 2 outings with that studio, both Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, technical standpoint, have a lot of issues.
Yes.
But those are games that, despite those, come together to be more than the sum of their parts. And I think that's still a little bit different than what we're hitting on here, because those rank as genuine, masterpieces, especially Shadow.
Right.
Eco not quite as much, but it laid a lot of foundational work for what would become Shadow. But either way, those are games where they manage to transcend their shortcomings and, are fairly universally loved, as opposed to, a lot of what we've kind of been bouncing around tonight, where none of these games transcended any shortcomings, but they still just click with us for one reason or another. And I think it's an interesting thing to kind of touch on, because it's not something that really ever gets talked about. Nobody ever wants to usually admit, no, dude, I had a fuck ton of fun with, Duke Nukem Forever,
Right.
or anything else for that matter. Not to pick on you, but that's a great example, just because it is such a, frozen moment in time. And, but no, that's where we're at. So with that being said, the little bit of housekeeping. We're finally moving forward on some progress with the YouTube channel. So my aim is in the next 1 to 2 weeks to have the full blown relaunch finally. So that way we'll get that up and rolling. And I just got to take a little bit of time and teach myself some video editing software, and we'll be back with video versions of the show on YouTube as well. So that's something to look forward to. As I play catch up here, we've got a couple other things cooking as well. But that's probably the biggest thing. So, I mean, if YouTube is your normal go-to platform, look forward to us being back there in the present. So that'll be a nice surprise.
Let's just make sure that they don't go down for an hour or so.
Like yesterday?
Break the whole fucking internet bullshit. Jesus Christ.
But I have 10 minutes I need to waste. What am I going to do?
Oh my God, right.
As you scroll down Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and other stuff, Hulu, Netflix.
I know, right?
Amazon, anything. Literally anything else. God. Take that 10 minutes, get on Tumblr, find some porn, rub one out. Jesus, it's a more productive way to spend your time.
Yeah, go outside, maybe,
Soak up a little vitamin D. Go find some D. Get some D. Get to D. She wants to D. So, all right. Well, that's it for us this week. Guys, anything else we want to hit on before we wrap this bitch up?
Video Game Book Club, Nintendo Video Game Book Club. We are playing Super Mario RPG. So, you guys have 2 weeks to get if you guys are a part of the club. And if you want to join us, you can join us on MVC. Is it MVC?
Oh, Nintendo Video Game Book Club.
Nintendo Video Game Book Club on Facebook. And join in the fun. We'll probably be having a new poll up after the recording. So you guys can select console or handheld, and we'll go from there on what game that you guys want to play. So, yeah.
Josh, anything you want to throw in before we make like some safe sex and wrap it up?
No, I think Eddie, I already mentioned the book club, which I was going to say I need to start that game, but I'm thinking I got 2 weeks. I should be able to do it in a few hours, at least start it, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think the only way to play this one is on the NES Classic or SNES Super Nintendo Classic too, unless you have an original copy.
I want to say that it was on the Wii U and the Wii Shop
the
channel.
Wii U, yeah, if you have it on there. But some people do, some people don't. But you can get it. I think you still get it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Or other legal methods, I should say.
Other means, yeah,
Other
which
means.
is not.
You know, there's at least reasonable ways to get a hold of it and play it, though. You know, the SNES Classics aren't that difficult to get your hands on.
No.
But.
And if you don't have one, why don't you? You know.
Right, exactly. It's not like there's 20 games of awesomeness on there or anything. So, but yeah, that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week. Dylan was not able to join us because he's currently on assignment in the Dells. We'll go with the Dells.
On the spot.
But he should be back with us next week. We will be back in full force. But yeah, that's it for us for World 1-1 Podcast. I am Larry the Bearded Wonder. It was my pleasure to have with me tonight Eddie Snugglebear V and Josh The LaGrew. And that's it. Good night.
And we'll see you guys next time on World 1-1 Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Peace.